Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So here I want to cover gear progression for tanks. This should be helpful from a new player to an endgame player. What should you use throughout the game? First of all, I'm gonna assume you've hit level 20. I would not worry about your gear until then. But once you've finished leveling, that's when you should be looking at trying to obtain some gear that will actually help your survivability as a tank to be able to absorb enemy hits. So what should be your path forward? We're only going to cover these slots here in the gear page. That is still a lot of things to work on, and it ends up being nearly one of the most important things too. There's a lot of junk out there that you can choose that's just terrible. And so let's cover exactly what you should be getting between the different steps. Ultimately, this is it. This is what I would recommend. However, we're going to go step by step of where these gear pieces come from, because these names could be completely unfamiliar to you as a newer player. And that's going to be the bulk of this video, where to actually get the gear. So let's begin with our headpiece. So I recommend getting the Dragonsteel helm as your first thing. Here you will have to go to your Seals vendor in Protector's Enclave, and you simply purchase it with Seals of the Dragon. All of this gear will be accessible on all tanks, whether you're Paladin, Barbarian or Fighter. Grab the Dragonsteel helm. If you're unaware of where to get Seals of the Dragon, well, you'll go to your queues here, you go to random queues, and you just do the dungeon and the skirmish, and you can see every day you'll get Seals of the Dragon. You can also jump into the new zone, access it at any item level, and do heroic encounters there with all the other guys, and you'll also get those Seals of the Dragon. Now this is a post edit, but I would add in the main of the Manticore before you go to the Rugged Sallet. This one you can get very early on. You just need to go ahead and do your Chilton hunts, and you can get this piece. It basically has the same bonus as the next piece you'll get, but you're able to obtain it without, say, needing to have to do all those dragon hunts which are group dependent. And it's a very useful bonus early on to hold threat in those boss fights. For this, you will have to go to the campaign Chult. You can go there very early on. You'll have to make campaign progress. You'll need to go particularly on the hunt section here in order to unlock hunts within Omu. So you'll have to complete these tasks in order to do this. In Port Nyanzaru, you unlock these NPCs then, and you need to gather the ingredients to get the lure, the Thayan Enchanter's Rod. So you will have to kill these T-Rexes to get their spines, and you will have to kill these red recluse spiders. You'll combine them and you'll kill the giant spider, which can give you the Chitter Spinneret. Then you will have to also kill these lizard folk, which can give you this red fang, which you'll combine with the chitters to get the Thayan Enchanter's Rod. And then you'll use the Enchanter's Rod to kill the Manticore, which can give you that gear piece. A little bit long-winded, but with these location maps you can see where the lizard folk and the spiders are, along with on this map as well. And then with the location of the Manticore Rassalas up here, you can kill him and you can get him to drop that gear piece. It is unfortunately just a chance to drop it, so you'll probably have to kill him a lot of times to get it. But it can be something to work on at the early game in order to get a very good headpiece for tanks. So again, I would add that in right here, and it will be in the video description as well. Just after this, you'll see it's missing. Now the upgrade from here is the Rugged Sallet of the Dragon Hunter, and that very simply comes from those dragon hunts. Via this campaign, you will be able to purchase it after you've collected enough materials, and then you just get it right here. You will need those ridges from ancient dragons, and you'll need these elemental strands just from killing enemies within these particular zones. There are a few new ones as well where you'll get them. Again, I would recommend watching guides with dragon hunts, how to start them. You're ultimately going to have to do 15 solo dragons, and then you proceed on to doing ancients with a group. However, now we jump to our armor gear. So first of all, I recommend the Lothian Cuirass. This will again just be with seals. However, this time with the seals of the Spider God. You just purchase this one. Again, accessible to Paladins, Barbarians and Fighters. And in order to get these seals of the Spider God, you will need a little bit more item level to access your trial queue and your advanced dungeon queue, and you get those seals there. To upgrade, I would get the rugged mail of the Dragon Hunter just from Dragon Slayer, those dragon hunts, farm the reagents, and purchase it just here. It will take you a lot longer because you will have to get to Dragon Hunter rank 100, which means you have killing 100 dragons. And then you will need that currency here. Again, just recommend checking out guides with dragon hunts. The upgrade from there would be the Abyss Conqueror's Provoker's Cuirass, and that's about the best in slot one in the game right now. And this simply comes from the master dungeon, the Demon Web Pits. You kill the last boss and it has a chance to drop it on the ground for you, and then you just pick it up and there you go, you have pretty much the best in slot armor piece for a tank. Be aware you can get alternative pieces just to support your team, but in terms of raw like tankiness, that is what's best in slot, and that's the baseline for all of these gear choices as well. They're not exactly the best to support your team in terms of improving their effectiveness. It's to improve your own tankiness so that you can absorb as much damage as possible, do your job before, say, sacrificing some things to choose other options. So now we jump to arms. Here I would again first get the Dragonsteel guards. Very simply, from your seals vendor again, you just purchase them right there. The upgrade I would get is the Bregan Dearth Provoker's Bracers. You just need to go and do your campaign Menza Branson. You will do some questing there and you will be able to purchase the legendary bracers. These ones will give you bonus awareness whenever you get hit, and so they can be very useful, especially when you're running around and just getting hit by ads all the time. And as a newer player, you'll probably make use of that awareness. And then, yeah, you'll purchase them here just with campaign currency. You just need to do quests. You will have to either kill some Driders to get elite sigils, or you will jump over to Demon Web Pits campaign and you will do the Abyss hunts there to get those elite sigils. And once you do have the legendary gear from here, you can then go and upgrade it in the Demon Web Pits, again getting some more campaign currency, and now you have it on Mythic, a very solid arms piece for especially newer tanks. And then the upgrade from that, I would recommend the Abyss Conqueror's Provoker gloves. And these ones, again, you just simply do the Master Demon Web Pits dungeon and you will be able to get these gloves to drop from the first boss. Again, pretty low drop rate, you'll have to do a lot of farming. Now, if you are particularly a paladin tank, you can go and upgrade to, say, the Ultraviolet Elven gloves, as these would give you an extra bit of divinity just on top of what you have, allowing you to have more burst threat by being able to use more divinity at once. From here we jump to our feet, and again I would start out with the Dragonsteel Sabatons, just again from the seals vendor with those seals of the dragon. These will just give you some deflect while in a party and crit avoid when not in a party. The upgrade from here, I would get the Wisps of the Shadow Demon. You will have to go to Avernus and you'll have to unlock the Path of the Fallen campaign. This allows you to do Avernus hunts. So you have certain areas on the map here where you can kill different enemies. You will need to kill 2 different types of enemies. These Searing Hezrau to get that trophy, plus these Abominations to get their trophy. In order to get them to spawn, you will have to use your little car to run over these little mains, and you'll get these infected mains to spawn. You kill them and they have a chance to drop that trophy. Same with these Hezrau, you'll have to kill normal Hezrau in this area and you'll get them to spawn in those locations and get one of them potentially to drop that trophy. And you can, look up guides on the whole trophy and hunt system, but ultimately you'll unlock the Citadel here once you complete the campaign. You should be able to go down in the basement here and purchase your lure Tendrils of Shadow. You'll probably need quite a few of them. You head to the top section here of Avernus and you'll place those trophies on this little altar, summon the boss, kill him, and you'll get those Wisps of the Shadow Demon to drop for you. And that's pretty much like the best in slot bonus or any tank can have. The upgrade from that would be the Astral Raiders Greaves when in scaled content. So you could skip getting the wisps if you are already high item level and are mainly just running scaled content. You'll have to go to a wild space for these, which does mean getting to 65,000 item level to unlock Light of Xeraxis. But then you can go do your invasions, you can farm your buzz jewels, and you can purchase the Astral Raiders boots right here. And they'll give you damage resistance when you are scaled. They're only good though when you get your item level nice and high from all the other items. So if you're still sitting around like 40, 50,000, I would still stay with the Wisps of the Shadow Demon. But once you get to endgame, I would recommend upgrading to the Rugged Sabatons of the Dragon Hunter. You're probably already doing Dragon Hunts anyway, and you'll go and purchase those rugged boots right there. And they have the same bonus as the Wisps of the Shadow Demon, and they're pretty much best in slot with that. And that would be it for boots. From here we jump to weapons. Now I would recommend jumping back to Avernus. You would go into the wastes here in your car. You can either just kill enemies anywhere, but if you're a tank and you can't really kill enemies that effectively, well, you can just go run over these mains and they will drop you maps. I do recommend doing the first few quests though to unlock the map quest. It will tell you what to do with the maps and to go complete it. Complete that first map, complete the quest, and then you'll be able to get more maps to drop when you just simply kill enemies. And yeah, killing these mains that spawn counts as enemies. They'll spawn in these different locations here with the yellow lines. Then you will use those maps, and when you dig up the treasure, you have a chance to obtain these weapons, which are the Legion Guard set. You can upgrade them if you want, but I find it's a little bit pointless to do so unless you feel you're going to be using the weapons for a long time. These ones have a very nice bonus, which are going to provide you and your team with a bunch of extra ratings. It's going to help everybody there. Now the upgrade I would suggest from here is the Stormforged weapons. Here you're very simply going to have to go to the campaign, the North Dark Reaches, so you are locked with the item level before you can get there, and you'll complete these tasks on the campaign. You'll first get the Blaspheme weapons. You can alright use them, but then you do want to be getting those Stormforged weapons. They'll give you a bunch of extra damage resistance, which should help you a lot, along with item level and base damage for say threat. From there, I would go with either the Celerum, Xeraxian, or Void Touched weapons. All again are just going to help your survivability. I would use Void Touched in single target boss fights, and I would use Celerum in multi-target, particularly in wild space at endgame these days. Void Touch is from the new Imperial Citadel dungeon on Master mode. Xeraxian one is from the Advanced mode, and then the Celerum is from the Master Moondancer trial. You can go into Advanced Moondancer and just get the legendary Celerum weapons as a small bit of an upgrade from your Stormforged weapons before say jumping into Master content. But I would say prioritize just getting into Advanced Imperial Citadel. Just do that one, it's fairly easy, probably easier to make a group as well than Moondancer, and get the Xeraxian ones first. Then from there you can go into Master content, get the Master Celerum or get the Master Void Touched. However, if you want to support the team further, you can go with Masterwork weapon set like Duergar, Feywood, Mastered. But they're not going to be as effective to just help yourself. So now we jump to our neck, waist, and artifacts slot. So here you can get gear which is going to create a set. When you start out, I would recommend getting the Cloak of Valhalla, the Belt of Valhalla, and the Horn of Valhalla. You can obtain all of those by doing the trial Assault on Svargborg. So just when you do your random trial queue, you might get that, you might get it to drop for you. Alternatively, you just go to the auction house and you'll find the belt there. You'll also find the cloak, and then you'll also find the horn. All three of these, when you slot them in, will create the set Valhalla's Rebuke, causing enemies to basically just deal less damage whenever they attack you, which is great to help with your survivability. They attack you, they reduce their own damage. The upgrade from here is kind of optional. It's the like diamond set. So you'd get the iridescent diamond pendant, buckle, and the artifact, the pin. Again, it's another set and you need to have all the pieces for it to be useful. Now it drops from these shattered diamond shards. Do not purchase them from the Zen market here. You can purchase them from the auction house. You need 100 of them to open them to get the drop. But I would generally just go and simply buy the scintillating diamond buckle and the pendant along with the artifact. Generally cheaper than worrying about your luck at dropping it here. Now I'd only go with this when you know you can stand still. So that would be boss fights. And you would switch back to, say, the Valhalla set when you're going in multi-target with lots of ad groups. The diamond set just gives you a bunch of survivability when you do stand still, giving that buff, and it's very useful, particularly early on. But finally, the last upgrade would be the Tiamat set, with the golden necklace, the golden sash, and the arcane globe. And that's like the best in slot set to use on tanks right now who want survivability. It's going to give you a bunch of damage reduction and critical avoidance whenever you drop below that 15% of stamina. There just isn't anything really better than that, other than, yes, you could switch to team support, but you will be sacrificing your own survivability. And a dead tank means a dead group. This whole set comes from the Rise of Tiamat Master Trial, but you can also just go and purchase all of the items off the auction house. It is not the cheapest thing, and that's why I don't recommend getting it early on, because it just won't be worth it for that. But from here, we're going to jump to then our rings. So we have 2 ring slots, and I would start out with going with the Ring of the Condemned and the Ring of the Overwhelmed. Now, both of those you can purchase from the auction house. You want to get +4 or +5, and you can see they're pretty cheap actually. The Condemned rings, yeah, they might be a bit more expensive or just rare. There's very little here. So what you will want to do then is go again to Avernus. You'll want to open the map and you'll want to wait for this blood war thing. When that fills up to either side, you're going to have a war party spawning in. One will spawn down here, the other one up here. You'll kill the war party, and then you can get one of those rings to drop for you. And you can always go and sell it if you want, or you can just, go and purchase it for yourself. And those have some very, very useful bonuses. I would even use them into endgame. What they allow you to do is when you move, you'll generate threat around you, and when you move, you'll gain damage resistance. So both rings work super well together, and you will use these when grouping up enemies. You'll just keep running around in circles. You'll generate threat on them, so they'll keep attacking you, and you'll gain damage resistance. You can do it for boss fights as well. You hold up your shield and you just wiggle around in a little circle, and you output threat and gain extra damage resistance to anything that hits you. Now for upgrades with that, I would get the Dark Lake Ward ring instead of the Condemned ring. You can purchase it from the auction house, definitely a lot more expensive as it comes from master crafting, and all it has is higher item level. That's it. Now item level will be irrelevant when you're just running scaled content anyway. And then otherwise, instead of the Overwhelmed ring, I would run the Topaz ring. Very useful when you just don't use your daily power much, as that will allow you to gain a massive boost of 8% forte, and then when you have your daily power full, deflect and deflect severity. In multi-target content, you generally don't really need to use your daily power, and so this is very, very effective. There are of course some fights where you want to use some different rings, like you could have the ring versus dragons to gain damage resistance, and you could also have the ring versus beholders to gain damage resistance there, and I would totally switch out the Topaz ring instead of that. Or if you don't have any use for the charging bull effect, like when you move gain threat, you switch that one out. But now we jump to our shirts. You first of all want to get, say, the Lult's Embrace Revenge upper. There's just nothing really better than it for starting out, and this would just come from your demon web hits, the adventure zone. You just do heroic encounters and you can get it. You can go to your auction house and just purchase it here. Yep, it's a bit expensive, but that's the only real good one you're going to get for quite a while. You could get one from Dragon Hunts, but it's just even more expensive. The upgrade would be the Dazzling Flare Fiber shirt, and you'll get it from doing the trial the Defense of the Moondancer. You complete it, you get your chests, and you'll obtain it. It has to be on Master though, or Advanced in order to actually get that. And this shirt will just give you a bit of a heal when you deflect, and otherwise has high item level. I would be aware of one shirt in particular that is useful in content where you have to fight spiders and drow. It's the one where you take 8% less damage. You can buy it off the auction house, or you can do heroic encounters in Menzoberranzan and you can get it to drop for you. Then for the trousers, I would just get these scout breeches. You'll very simply purchase them once again from a seals vendor, and they just give a very nice bonus, and you'll just use them all the time. Even in endgame, they're best in slot. And that is ultimately my guide for basic tank gear progression for Module 28. You get all the end stuff here on each of these slots, and you pretty much have a best in slot kitted tank. So hopefully this helps you guys out what to go for step by step. Not all of it needs you to complete master content. You can definitely get some nice pieces without even going there. I would not recommend focusing on item level whatsoever. Yes, you might have gear pieces here that'll look like they have only say 1000 item level, and you might be tempted to go with something that say has 2000 item level. That is just not worth it. You want to be going with whatever has the best bonus for you. Like these feet having Ghosted. Like this armor having Provoker's Stance. These ones are far better off than something that say has even 1000 more item level than it. It is not worth at all to chase item level, particularly as a tank. Go for gear that's actually going to be useful to you. I will most likely do this for damage dealers and healers too. Let me guys know if you're interested. Many of you have been complaining that you can't get, say, all the best in slot gear items here for the tank. Well, you don't have to. You can be, yes, on the lower options here of certain items, and you'll still do very well. We all had to go through modules with lesser gear. It's not like all of this stuff was always available. We had to go through this gear progression as well and get through all that content without, say, all the best stuff. So, thank you for watching. A special thank you to all of these channel members, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.